In a world where 80% of the population gets a superpower, you'd think humanity would have sorted a few things out.
Well, good for you, you're wrong.
Welcome to My Hero Academia, the show that proves that with great power comes absolutely no common sense. This is a society where your basic worth as a person is decided by the genetic lottery. And what's at the very top of this messed up food chain? A high school. This isn't a story about becoming the greatest hero. It's a story about a world that desperately needs a therapist, an economist, and a half-decent security consultant, but instead got a kid who's weaponizing his own medical bills.
Because that's what heroes do.
Let's talk about our boy Izuku Midoriya, or Deku. Born without a power or quirk, he's the ultimate underdog in a world completely obsessed with underdogs. His dream is to be a hero, a noble goal, right? Except his main strategy for achieving is just breaking himself over and over again.
Because that's what heroes do.
He punches something, his arm goes all floppy and purple, and everyone around him just nods along like this is a solid long-term plan. And how does he finally get his powers? The world's #1 hero, All Might himself, looks at this sweet, quirkless kid and tells him to eat a strand of his hair.
Because that's what heroes do.
And Deku, bless his little green heart, doesn't even blink. He just chows down. This pretty much sets the tone for his whole character. A boy with the heart of a hero. His defining trait isn't strength or kindness. It's his deeply unsettling willingness to do whatever a large muscular man tells him to. No questions asked. He's less of a chosen one and more of a walking liability who just keeps failing upwards. Alright, let's zoom out and look at the society that made this kid.
Play the video, Mom!
You do realize that thousands of people died in this video. It's like watching 9/11 footage. The fact that you enjoy this so much, it's just not right.
I can't feel my legs. Somebody help! Help!
The so-called Hero Society in My Hero Academia isn't really about saving people. Justice has been replaced by branding opportunities. This creates a system where if you've got a flashy, marketable quirk, you're pushed to the top. But if you have a villainous power or one that's not very glamorous, good luck. You can control minds. Too creepy for the cameras, kid. You're out. The system actively creates the very villains it's claiming to be fighting by telling a huge part of the population they're worthless from birth. And the heart of it all is UA High, a school with a worse student safety record than. It's an absolute miracle anyone graduates from UA alive, let alone becomes a hero. They talk about molding the next generation, but it really looks like they're just trying to thin the herd. Of course, you can't have a shonen anime without a boatload of trauma, and My Hero has it in spades. First up is Shoto Todoroki, a kid with a backstory so tragic it's almost an art form. His dad, the #2 hero Endeavor, only cared about being #1. When he realized he couldn't do it, he took the next logical step. He entered into a forced marriage to literally breed a child who could. Endeavor's parenting style can only be described as abusive eugenics. He treated his wife like a tool and his son like a science project, and surprise! For 2 whole seasons, Shoto's entire personality is just glaring at people and refusing to use his fire powers out of pure spite for his father. Then there's Katsuki Bakugo, the walking, talking embodiment of anger management seminar's worst nightmare. His quirk is making explosions from his sweat, and his personality is somehow even more volatile. He's the childhood bully. The show desperately wants us to see his constant screaming and abuse as some kind of complex character arc. But mostly, we just see a guy who really needs to learn to use his indoor voice. These characters aren't just heroes in training. They are walking case studies for why UA needs a team of full-time psychologists. Every major character is powered by some kind of trauma, whether it's neglect, abuse, or just crushing societal pressure. They aren't fighting for justice. They're fighting their inner demons on a very public stage with lots of collateral damage. For a world built on superpowers, some of the quirks are just baffling. You've got universe-breaking powers, like All for One, which lets you steal anyone's ability. And then you have a guy who shoots scotch tape from his elbows. You have people who can command the elements, and then you have Minata, whose power is to pull sticky purple balls off his head. And what does he use it for? To be a relentless creep, for which he never ever gets in trouble. Some people's quirks are just having an animal head. That's not a superpower. That's just a weird genetic draw. There's an invisible girl, which is great for sneaking around, but how did she pass the entrance exam that involved destroying giant robots? Did she just stand really still and hope nobody stepped on her? The whole system of quirks feels less like natural evolution and more like the writers threw darts at a board of random ideas. Some people get to be gods, and others get a tail. It's the universe's most unfair lottery, and it makes you wonder how this society even functions when one guy can level a city and another can just talk to pigeons. Look, if after all that you're still not completely horrified by the sheer absurdity of this world, then you're kind of my person. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and down in the comments let me know which anime you think is living in its own little world completely detached from common sense. For all the roasting, My Hero Academia presents itself as a bright, hopeful story about heroes and fighting for a better world. But when you peel back the colorful surface, you find a dark, hilarious satire of a society teetering on the edge of collapse. It's a world where hero is a job title, not a moral compass, and the villains are often just the people the hero system chewed up and spat out. They weren't born evil, they were just the system's rejects. The show's greatest strengths isn't its epic fights or inspiring speeches. It's the accidental, darkly comic critique of its own universe. It's a world where everyone is screaming for a hero, but what they really need is a complete social overhaul.